Let's get this thing going. What's up, everybody? Time for episode 2, huh? Hey, first off, I just want to say, dude, 614 subscribers right now. I never in a million years would have dreamed that, ever. You know, the whole idea of this channel came just from making clips and being silly and showing my friends things that happen when I'm riding, you know. But the catalyst for me actually creating the channel was me getting the cancer, you know. It was like, you know, dude, at least if I die, there'll be some record that I existed. You know what I mean? There'll be something out there. People can be like, oh, this is my boy Angry D. He was a maniac or whatever. Or I hated him, or I loved him, or whatever. There'll be some record that I was here, you know. So that's what the channel's for. And the fact that you guys are subscribing and liking and leaving positive comments, dude, this is awesome, man. We got a whole community of like-minded people building up around this thing. It's great. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much. It means so much to me. Oh, 5-0. Be cool. Oh, what's going on? Oh, we're cool. We're cool. Maybe he's gonna try to get behind me. I don't know. Nothing to see here, sir. So let's get right into what we're doing here. And that's telling you the story of when I let Pantera sound guy move in my house, and it ended with the cops kicking in my door. So I'm going to tell you the long form, right? There's a little bit of backstory, kind of just stuff you need to know, because it'll help the whole story make more sense, right? So the whole thing comes from, you know, Wirez became Pantera's sound guy sort of by accident, right? There was this guy that was already their sound guy, and they were going out on their first tour, the Cowboy, well, not first tour, but first big major label deal, you know, the Cowboys from Hell tour. So, you know, they got their own sound guy, they're taking lights out, they're doing it big, you know, because it's the first tour, they want to do it right, you know. Well, they've got a sound guy who's their dude. He's been their guy for a while, but he gets hurt. He hurts his back somehow in a car accident. I can't exactly remember how he hurt himself, but they're scrambling. They need a guy, you know. Dime racking his brain. He's like, what about, he's talking to Vinnie Paul, and they're like, what about that guy Aaron from the basement? And then Vinnie Paul's like, yeah, let's check him out. You know, they know him, they've known him for a while. They're not like really like tight, but they know the guy. I mean, that's, you know how it is in the music circle, right? So they go to him, he's with it, they take him out, and he becomes their guy from '89 all the way till the band breaks up. You know, they become Damage Plan. You know, while they're not a band, Wirez is building Dime's studio. He's building big concrete barrier walls and stuff, and driveways and stuff behind Dime's house. He's building Vinnie Paul's tiki bar. He's hanging the Vinnie Paul's Playhouse sign. Wirez knows plumbing, Wirez knows electrical, he knows sheetrock, he knows paint, he knows everything. He's just been around a long time. He's an all-around handy guy who knows how to do everything. So, you know, you look at pictures of Dimebag's studio and you see those consoles mounted in the wall and stuff like that. That was all Wirez did that, you know, which is pretty cool when you think about it, right? But during that whole time of Wirez working for them and stuff, something happened with his living situation, and Dime went to him. You know, Dime and Vinnie Paul grew up in their mom's house, and then when they became rock stars, they went and got their own houses, right? Well, so their mom stayed living in that house. It was paid for, and it was a nice house, and she passed away, and so the house was sitting there vacant. Dimebag was like, hey, Wirez, why don't you go move in, you know, in that house and you know, fix it up, do whatever you want to it. We just don't want to see it rot. They're like, it's paid for, we won't charge you any rent, just pay the taxes on it every year, and we'll be good. You know, keep it nice, keep the yard up, all that stuff, you know. So for 20 years, that's what Wirez did. He redid the house, set it up his own way. I mean, I can't even begin to tell you the insanity of the things that were in that house. Just, I mean, he had a winch that went up to a cable system that was hooked to this track so he could lift and hang girls upside down. Hey, dude, I'm not gonna get into it because that's a whole nother 3 hours of talking, right? Now, this whole thing is connected to a lot of other things, but that's beside the point here. But I guess what my point is when you live in a house for 20 years and you're like him or you're like me, you do a lot of stuff to it. It becomes very custom, and you're never gonna move ever. This is where you're gonna live forever. 1 second, I got something itching my nose here. So he's their sound guy. Band breaks up. Come Damage Plan. They go out on tour. Dime gets murdered on stage by a maniac right in front of Wirez. He's there that night. He sees the whole thing. This is his friend for 15 years gets murdered by some kid maniac on stage. And not only does that kid shoot Dime, he comes in there shooting up the whole place. His goal was to kill Dime and Vinnie Paul, and thank God Cat Brooks tackled Vinnie, stuck him out the back door, and then himself heroically attacked the shooter, probably saving countless lives, who knows, because he kept the guy tied up, and his hair was getting jammed up in the gun. Wirez can tell you that story a lot better than me, because he was there, and it's an intense one, you know. It's an intense one. Rest in peace, Dime. So dang, man. So I'm sorry, y'all. I get upset. Dimebag meant a lot to me. Vinnie Paul meant a lot to me, and this band meant a lot to me. My dog's name is Minnie Paul. You know what I mean? So Wirez goes home. He tries to tour again. It doesn't work out so well. It's just not. It's not the same. You know, he's been with one band this whole time. He's toured a little bit with other bands, but he was with that band pretty much the whole time. So to go start with a whole nother band, a new family, and get these guys to like it, I mean, it's just a whole thing, you know. There's politics involved. Things are different. Some bands are easier to work for than others. Trust me on that. I'll tell you that story too. Those stories. So he doesn't want to tour anymore, right? They're building a House of Blues in Dallas, and the Live Nation guys call him up, and they're like, hey man, we're looking for a guy to go be like a head sound guy slash maintenance guy slash, you know, all around dude that can, you know, handle shit. And he's like, yeah, you know what, I'll give it a shot. It's been a long time since he had a real job, and it's weird for him to go start a job in some corporate situation, but he does it, you know, and he likes it. I, at the same time, was a computer guy, hating my life. I was already a lighting guy on the side for bands, and I had my own little rig and stuff, but I wasn't doing it big, you know. House of Blues opens up. My roommate's like, dude, let's go work at House of Blues as stagehands. Then we'll get to hang out and see bands and stuff and move their gear around. I was like, yeah, dude, I'll do that on the weekends, right? Stay a computer guy, though, because I'm not going to be a stagehand with my life, right? That's how I was thinking back then, you know. So fast forward a few months. I want to get into lighting. They're saying no because I'm not full-time, and now we already got lighting guys. They end up losing a lighting guy, and they need another maintenance guy. So they hire me to do both, right? I make the switch. Go work for Pantera sound guy? God dang right, you know? So that's what I do. I go work for him. And I worked for Wirez for years, and he was the easiest boss ever. Never once yelled at me, questioned me, didn't expect me to be on time, nothing. Just let me do whatever I want, which I did not take advantage of, but it was very cool that we never had a problem, right? Gave me so much stuff over the years, so many cool Pantera things, platinum records, you know, God, guitars, I can't even tell you, pickups, Dimebag. I got pickups. I have a guitar that's got a pickup that came out of Dimebag's guitar, you know? And I mean, dude, think about that, right? So Wirez was always really good to me. I used to be so broke. I had no money. And one day I got a flat tire, and what am I gonna do? You know, Wirez comes, hey, what's wrong, man? I have a flat tire, dude. Dude, go put the spare on. Let's go get you a tire. Takes me up there, buys me a tire. Never even expects the money back. Of course he don't expect the money back, right? He's a good guy, you know? So, and I'm telling you all this so you'll understand why I did what I did, okay? So, okay, Dimebag's passed away, right? Fast forward to Vinnie Paul passes away, okay? Rest in peace, Vinnie Paul. Way too young, man. A true rock star, rock drumming god. You know what I mean? In the flesh. Greatest guy ever, too. I went to Vinnie Paul's house for Halloween twice. This guy would just let a nobody like me come in his house dressed like an iPod and hang out all night. You know what I mean? I went there with some people, but still, man, like, you don't even understand how cool Vinnie Paul was unless you met him. Dimebag was the same way. They were just regular dudes who were, you know, I never met Dime, but everybody I know has, and both of them were just awesome dudes. It's not, I don't know that there's a single person that can tell you a bad thing about either one of those two men who are famous rock gods. Anyway, so Vinnie Paul passes away. Wirez is still living in that house that they grew up in, only paying taxes, right? Well, Vinnie Paul leaves a will, but it doesn't leave that house to Wirez. It leaves the house and everything else that he's got to an estate that splits it up in the percentages, you know? So they basically have to just sell everything and split it. So they come to Wirez and they're like, look, dude, you gotta move, or you gotta start paying us $1,700 in rent a month. And Wirez, meanwhile, same as me, we both were laid off of House of Blues at different times. He's been laid off about, I don't know, 6-8 months. Me, I'm already on with a new career, working at AT&T, hating my new life, and that's a whole nother thing. So Wirez has a big severance. They gave him a big old severance. So he's kind of living off of that, figuring out what he's gonna do. It's not like he doesn't have a car note, he doesn't have a house note, you know, he's got very minimal bills. So he's just kind of hanging out. And that's when they slap him with the, we need you to move out or pay $1,700 a month. He's like, well, I don't have that kind of money. I don't have to find a job. All that. Well, I mean, if you ask me, he just kind of blows the whole situation off like, oh, it ain't gonna happen, and buries his head in the sand. Well, 6 months later, they come to him and they're like, we're gonna put you out like tomorrow, you know? His girlfriend told me, I think they were like, Monday they're getting rid of him, you know? They're gonna put him out, they're gonna send the cops over there or something. And his girlfriend calls me up. Maybe he called me up, maybe he told me, maybe I asked him how things were going. I can't exactly remember, but I find out that this is happening, and me trying to be Mr. Fix-It, gonna save the world and fix everything always. I come to him and I'm like, look, dude, tell you what, if you want, you can come stay at my house. I'll come help you move all your stuff, because I mean, that's the other thing. He's alone. He's got a house that's got 20 years worth of accumulated things. And Wirez, I mean, I can't even explain to you how much stuff was in that house. In the attic alone, the attic was basically, there was a Home Depot worth of stuff there. Electrical, plumbing, parts, pipes, pieces, stuff for every job you could possibly need, so that he could just go up in his attic and get what he needed and get to work, you know? So that house was loaded down with just stuff. Oh, it was crazy amount of stuff. I help him get as much as we can out of there. He had to leave a lot behind, you know? I mean, and that hurt watching too. You know, that whole situation was hard on him, and it was hard to watch. You know, you're seeing a guy lose his whole life, and you know, somebody who worked his whole life, and now he's having to just give it up and go, almost like just become homeless and go live in one of my bedrooms. So I felt like I needed to help him, and that's why I helped him. All right, we get him out of there, we get all this stuff in storage. I take a week off work, we get it all set up in the storage, we get him moved into my house. I mean, it was quite a job getting that house moved, you know, and most of his stuff, we got most of it, but some of it he had to leave behind just because it was so much. So he's living in my house. He gets a job as a not a head maintenance man, but a second head maintenance man, second in charge at this pretty big complex in Arlington. You know, he's making decent money, right? But he's driving a big old truck, and it's far away. It's a good 45 minutes one way, so he's using up a lot of gas. It's costing him a lot of money to get there, but he's making it, you know, and everything's going great. And then it's like, I think it was a week before Christmas, 2019, can't remember exactly. I know it was the Wednesday before Christmas, because Christmas was on a Wednesday, and it was 7 days before Christmas, and I had a big day planned. I literally took off work to do some stuff, and thank God I did take off work, but I never got my stuff done. So I wake up, I go to bed Tuesday, everything's normal, you know. I wake up to this bangum, 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 bangum coming from my living room, and I don't know what it is. And I know I just worked on the air conditioning, the squirrel cage, and it's down in a closet down there. And so I thought maybe that squirrel cage had come loose and was or exploded and was banging, bang, bang. It's what it sounded like, you know. I get to the living room, and I'm gonna cut to the security footage, and maybe I'll narrate it in the room, maybe I'll narrate it on the bike. I'm gonna tell you what I remember while I'm on the bike, right? So I run in there, and I can see the whole room is lighting up, like, and I'm hearing bunga, 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 and things are falling off the shelves, off the wall. I got surround sound speakers that crash into the ground. It was just scary chaos. I'm like, what is going on? I look out the front door. I realize the banga banga is coming from the front door. They're hitting it so hard that it's bending my door in and slapping back. So when they hit it, bang, it comes in and goes back, bang. So it's going banga, 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 right? And then I look out the hole, and I see all this happening and all these cops, and I'm like, listen, I don't commit crimes, right? I ride fast and stuff, but I wasn't even riding fast. I didn't have a YouTube channel back then or anything. There was no real, like, in my head, oh, they're here for this. I was like, wrong house, dude, wrong house, bro. So I go in his room, and I open his door, and I'm like, bro, there's like 50 cops out there. What did you do something? You know, what did you do? And he's like, no. I was like, you got anything on you or anything? He's like, no. So I go out to the door, and you'll see on the security camera, they just grab me and immediately take me out, and with no shirt on, and it's 32 degrees outside, start putting handcuffs on me, and will not tell me why they're there. They just keep saying, everything's gonna be all right, son. I got this big Walker Texas Ranger looking guy who turns out to be the sheriff of Plano, right? Sheriff Skinner, the sheriff, right? Like the head guy is at my house beating on my door with guys who have guns. When I open the door, there's a guy standing there with a ram in his hand about to take my door down, like they were gonna catch a couple wild hooligan bank robbers or something. Dude, I did not know what was going on. And they take me, and they bring me in the back room, they sit me down, and I'm like, yo, you have the wrong house. Wherever you's going on, you got the wrong house. And they're like, nope, we got the right house. And they pull out a warrant. It's got a picture of my house, it's got pictures of my car, his car, it's got our license plates, it's got everything, right? Like, they're here for a reason, right? But they will not. Oh, cool, man. That's like a buzzard or a vulture. They will not tell me why. So they put me in the back seat of a car, and I sit there for 6 hours while they're inside of my house. All my lights are on remote controls, so they can't figure out how to turn on any of the lights. So my house is dark, and they're just going around taking pictures of stuff, and I see flashes going off, and I can tell they're taking pictures of stuff, and then they're coming out of my house with things in bags, in paper bags, evidence bags. They're taking things out of my house in evidence bags. And I'm like, what is going on? There's a cop in the car with me, and I swear I would pay $1 million for this video, because they got me sitting in the back seat of a car with this cop, and he won't talk to me. I'm asking him what's going on. I'm antagonizing him. I'm giving him crap. I'm trying to make him mad so he'll talk to me. He's not having it. He's like, dude, ain't gonna work, bud. Is what he keeps saying to me, right? Nah, not gonna work, you know? So I finally just give up and shut up. Oh shit, stop sign. Ooh, missed it. I think that, I was supposed to go there. Whatever, let's go this way and see what that is. And the reason they're not telling me what's going on is because they want the detectives to talk to me, so the detective can get my point of view, or they can get my reaction to whatever her question is, you know? So meanwhile, they got us separated. He's in another car, I'm in another car. We're both sitting there for hours. All my neighbors are coming by looking. I got 50 cop cars outside of my house. So they got us in separate cars. He's in the back of one, I'm in the back of another one. They're in there coming out with the bags. A detective finally comes up to me, takes me in, sits me in another car, and I'm like, and is finally gonna tell me what's going on. Awesome. She's like, look, let me, she's like, Mr. blah, 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 all the formalities, right to remain silent, lawyer present, all that stuff. And I was like, get on with it, man. Are you willing to talk to me? Yes, what is going on? Are you familiar with PCCT? What? What about PDOT? What? What about CTO? What? I was like, what are you talking about? Speak English, lady. She's like, we're with the child advocacy group. And I was like, child advocacy? First off, I don't have any kids. you probably figured that out by looking at my house, and why I'm this old riding. You know, most guys my age have kids, they ain't gonna ride. They don't want to risk dying and leave their kids fatherless. But I don't have kids. I don't have a wife. There's no kids. I don't know kids. I know a couple people with kids, but they don't come over. So I don't understand what's going on. You know, I was like, what, did him and her like kidnap a kid or something? Because Wirez has a girlfriend, you know. Did they kidnap a kid? What's going on? You know, well, these are all code words for child pornography. And I was like, child pornography? And I'm looking at her like, she might as well have said, we heard you guys have stolen iguanas in there, you know? Because like I was like, what the fuck? Why would I have a stolen iguana? I don't have child pornography. Why would I have child pornography? That's disgusting. You know, it was just blew my mind that this is what you're here for. I instantly felt relief because I knew that I wasn't into that shit. I don't download it. I don't fuck with it. So I got nothing to worry about there. And I was like, I don't look at child pornography. And she's like, we know. And I was like, oh my God, him? And she's like, and she shook her head up and down. And I was like, what? Dude, I let this guy move in my house and he downloaded child pornography on my internet and brought the cops to my door? Like, why don't you just rob a bank and leave a trail of change to the house? You know? Dude, shoot a guy and just leave a trail of blood all the way to that bloody footsteps, dude. I mean, bro, what? She tells me they downloaded the child pornography from him via a torrent. And immediately I was like, oh my God. Because one day in the living room, he's like, hey man, how you getting all these movies? Because I'm always downloading movies. I don't pay for cable, you know, and I store them on a storage drive, network storage drives. I may or may not torrent the movie and download it to a network storage drive, right? Ooh, wow, how dangerous is this? Wow, man, look at that stop sign. You can't even see it. Let's go look over here and see what this is. Oh, it's nothing. It's like a little park. Yay. I kind of want to go back down this road. So I do the torrent thing, and he's like, show me how to do that. I show him how to do it, and he finds out, he's like, oh, you get software? I was like, yeah, you get software, you get porn, you get all kind of stuff, dude. And he's like, you get porn? I was like, yeah. He's like, all right. I should have seen that light bulb light up, but I didn't, you know? So turns out, I guess he torrented the porno. He told me, when it's all said and done, and when he got out of jail, when we finally got to talk, he's like, dude, I downloaded this big porno folder. It was like called Mega Porn Collection or something. He's like, it was a big giant folder just full of all kind of stuff. And something I forgot to tell him when I was teaching him about all this stuff was seeding. I didn't think to tell him don't seed, you know? Then again, I didn't think he was gonna download child pornography, but I should have told him that just to keep my bandwidth right, you know? So I forgot to tell him not to seed. So that's basically, he tells me he downloads that big folder, and he's like, dude, it's like 20 gigs. It was like huge folder of just porno that I was working my way through. He's like, I didn't know there was anything in it like that. And that's his story, and he's sticking to it, you know? Meanwhile, the cops don't care about that. They download it from you, and now they're charging you with distribution of it as well. So it's not only the child porn, it's this distribution of child porn, right? Like, and they got him with 14 counts because they downloaded 14 pictures from him, and that's what he had on there, 14 pictures. Now, let's get to my opinion of whether or not he's guilty or into that shit. First off, I can't say. I know that a lot of people knew John Wayne Gacy and would have never thought he was a serial killer, you know. A lot of people knew Ted Bundy, same deal, right? So you never really know somebody unless you absolutely are them and are with them 24 hours a day, and you still don't know what's in their head, you know. So I gotta say, I don't know, right? But here's what I do know, or what I've seen from when those guys get caught. They never have just 14 pictures. They've got gigs and gigs and hard drives and storage drives full of this stuff, and they can't let go of it because they're so addicted to it. It's like a compulsion for them. He's got 14 pictures that he says he didn't know were there. Maybe he's telling the truth. I don't know, right? But it's not for me to judge. And at the same time, you gotta remember, like I said, this guy's done a lot of stuff for me. This guy's helped me out a lot when I needed it. You know, he was there when my dad died. You know, I mean, it just really, like, Wirez is a good guy. So I wasn't just gonna be like, get out of my house, you know, get out, never come back. So I let him stay. I let him come back after he got out of jail, let him come back, and he did okay, you know. But then he stopped doing all his bail stuff, and he wasn't paying all his things, and he wasn't finding a job because nobody will hire him, because when you Google his name, it says Charles Aaron Barnes, child pornography guy. It's bad enough something like this happens and you're nobody, but when you're Pantera's sound guy and you're in the home videos and you're in the VH1 special, right? Every metal news website gets a hold of this thing and runs with it and shows the worst picture you've ever taken in your life and says this guy is guilty of having child porn on his computer. You know, yeah, it was on his computer, there's no doubt about that. Whether or not he knew it is a whole nother thing. So to just like smear a guy like that is kind of messed up. You know, I don't know. Everybody's got different opinions on that, and honestly, I really don't have an opinion. I don't care. It's not me, it's somebody else. I got my own life. It is my buddy, and I care about what happens to him, but if he's a pervert and likes children, dude, I don't really want to be his friend, you know? I don't necessarily want to see bad things happen to him, but I'm not going to hang out and support him, that's for sure, you know? So he doesn't do great on the bail thing. They come and take him, they lock him up. He's locked up and he's in jail for about a year. His trial comes and they give him 15 years. Meanwhile, his storage units have gotten broken into and just basically cleared out. So all of his Pantera memorabilia was stolen. You may know a guy, you may have heard of a guy, probably haven't never heard of a guy because he's a freaking nobody, named, he fenced it all on eBay, basically. So if you bought any of Pantera's sound guy's gear on eBay, you bought stolen gear that was stolen from his storage units while he was locked up in prison for child pornography that, like I said, he may or may have not known was there, you know. Take that information and do what you want with it, you know. But that's the story of Wirez living in my house, and the child porn and the Pantera, the whole deal, dude. It's a pretty wild thing, and I'm now lost too. I'm stuck going in a circle. Let's where did we go last time? We went, let's go this way again. Let's go in here and we'll regular map home. Well, if you're still with me, thanks for listening. I appreciate you guys. You know, every one of you. 614, dude. I never in a million years would have thought we'd make it this far. I figured there'd be like 50 people by the end of the year, and we're doing it like, dude, I made this channel in December and we're 615, 614 strong right now. We finally got a community tab. We can all talk and share stuff. That's awesome. So thank you guys very much for everything y'all do, all the support. Thank you for the haters. I like mixing it up with y'all. It's fun. It honestly, and it helps me get my chops up, my comeback chops. So appreciate that. All right, everybody, we're about to get on the tollway and gas it, so you probably won't hear me after this. Hey Cardo, music on. Hey Cardo, volume up.